You've tuned into The Break Room, a weekly conversation about how the city of St. Augustine works, from those who do the work every day. Hosted by the City of St. Augustine's Communications Manager, Melissa Wissel, The Break Room offers a closer look at the city's programs and provides updates on current and upcoming projects. And now, your host for The Break Room, Melissa Wissel.
Welcome to The Break Room. Thanks for joining us. The Break Room is a place for us to get together for just a few minutes and take a break from our daily work, catch up with coworkers, and hear about what's happening in and around the city. I'm Melissa Wissel, Communications Manager for the City of St. Augustine. This week on The Break Room, making his debut appearance, I'd like to welcome Senior Planner Patrick Doty to the studio. Patrick joined the city in July of 2019 and is responsible for, pretty much all things planning related in the Planning and Building Department. As recently, Patrick was tasked with launching something that has caught the attention of lots of people here in St. Augustine. That would be the implementation of short-term rental registrations and, of course, launching the registration website. Patrick, welcome to The Break Room.
Thank you for having me, Melissa.
So let's just be clear right off the bat. You, Patrick, are not running the program.
That is correct. City will be hiring staff to take over this program in the near future.
Great. But you've been very instrumental in getting it off the ground, creating the website content. We'll just give that a quick plug here, citystnag.com/short-term rentals. You did give a presentation to the commission. So if I want to operate a short-term rental, an Airbnb, vacation rental, whatever we're calling it these days, what do I need to do?
Well, the first thing you'd want to do is visit that webpage you just mentioned. It's prominently displayed on the homepage of our city's website, and give yourself about 30 minutes to go over the information provided on that page. It's a one-stop shop for all information regarding that registration process, how to locate your property zoning, what is required through the inspection process, and what the fee schedule is going to be.
Okay. So short-term rentals, though, isn't anything new.
No, that's a common misunderstanding that's come up lately, is that a lot of residents and people in the community believe that these are all new regulations, and a majority of them are, but the weekly minimums in RS1 and RS2 parcels and the monthly minimums in our HP1 zoning districts, that was all codified back in 2010. So these have been on the books for a long time, and what's happened is recently the community's come forward to their elected officials. It's become more of a prominent issue in our community, and fast forward about 6 or 8 months after all those regulations are in place, and we have increased registration requirements. So that's going to be parking requirements, life safety requirements, annual registrations. And so what that does is it legitimizes existing short-term rentals in the city and provides a level of safety that we expect our residents to enjoy and that any guests in our community would enjoy by staying in a registered short-term rental in the city of St. Augustine.
So it was maybe similar to speed limits. It's there, but maybe we weren't really enforcing. People weren't really observing. So it's sort of we needed to get a handle on this.
Correct. So we've been enforcing it. So anytime there's been a complaint brought to the city's code enforcement department, it's been followed up, as every complaint with the city code enforcement department is. But, it's not as a complaint-driven department. It wasn't as prevalent as it will be now that we have hired a subcontractor to actively manage these short-term rentals in our community.
Okay. If we could, for just a second, remind our listeners about the significance of this for us as a community, that we are able to rule and manage this under our own terms, which is, that's also been a divisive topic of our ability to rule versus the state implementing a statewide regulation.
Correct, yeah. So the state of Florida, like many states in the union, is a home rule state. And so what that does is allows us as a municipality to self-govern. It allows us to make rules that apply to us and are tailored to fit the needs of our community. And last year there was a bit of a dust-up in Tallahassee regarding potential legislation that never came to be. But basically, we're allowed to create regulations that are tailored to fit our needs, because the city of St. Augustine has different needs than, say, the community of Miami.
Right.
So,
yeah. I think we have a little bit different demographic, a little bit different population.
Correct.
Right. And it is a protection, like you were mentioning, really for our residents, to make sure that the neighborhoods in these residential communities either aren't overrun, shall we say, or that the people that are coming in and renting are abiding by rules and we maintain that livability. It's so important to our
Correct.
residents.
So it's not only to protect residents that live in these communities, but it also legitimizes the short-term rentals that are following our rules and regulations. It shows that they're willing to do what it takes to host a safe short-term rental. And then that in turn, like you said, provides a safer, more comfortable living arrangement for people who live near short-term rentals in our community.
Right. You mentioned the inspection. How does that work? Can you go through the process of just a little bit of what it? Okay, so I go and I click on the button, register
absolutely.
here.
So you'll go to the city's website for short-term rentals. There's a graphic there that says register short-term rental here. You're going to click that. It'll give you the option to register a new short-term rental, which one common misconception is that if you had previously registered with the city, is it's grandfathered. That is not true.
Okay.
Everybody that has a short-term rental has to register under the new system. The new system is 100% digital, so through accessing it through our city website is the only way to access and register. Once you register, you'll follow through and you'll see what the requirements are for life safety, our parking requirements, and then you'll put in your information regarding your short-term rental, your address, your parcel identification number, the number of bedrooms you're renting, all sorts of information that's similar to what you would post on Airbnb or VRBO, for example. And at the end, you would pay the set fee, which is based on the number of rooms in your home. And then after that, you would schedule inspections with the city's fire department for a life safety inspection, and then schedule an inspection with our code enforcement to check for zoning compliance for parking being provided on site. And then after that, if you meet all the city requirements and pass those inspections, you have an approved short-term rental in the city.
Any idea? Can you tell us how long? If I'm on top of it, the fire department's on top of the inspections, give or take. Is there a reasonable guarantee yet of how long it might take?
Well, the program's really in its infancy and its application, to be completely honest.
Right.
So as of yesterday, we had about 39 registrations. We've already had about 5 life safety inspections completed and approved.
Great.
I know that as of today, I was working with our building official to get code enforcement officers out to start inspecting for zoning compliance on those 39 properties. Once the city staff that was hired or is being hired for this comes on board, I expect it to be a really streamlined process after the initial push to get everybody registered. Because as of today, there's about 630 short-term rentals in the city.
Wow.
And we've only had 39 registers. So we're at a small percentage of folks who have come through the process. So I think the initial registration and inspection process is going to be challenging for not only the residents, but us in the city. But I think that we're well equipped. We have great staff on it. Host compliance has been an incredible asset to help us enforce this. And I think going forward, it's going to be a streamlined process.
Excellent.
I will state everybody needs to exercise as much patience as they can because it's new for everybody.
Sure. Well, it sounds like between the website, One Stop Shop, I do know there's a dedicated phone number. I don't know that off the top of my head, but I will repeat citysanog.com/short-term rentals. Pretty straightforward. That's going to take you to the page, or citysanog.com, and there is a button right there on the home page, right above the COVID shortcut. So got those links really easily accessible. You're not going to have to look very far to find it. I'm going to do a quick identification. You're currently listening to The Break Room. I'm Melissa Whistle, Communications Manager for the City of St. Augustine. Today in studio for the first time, Senior Planner Patrick Doty. We're talking about short-term rentals. Patrick, we're on a roll here. I think short-term rentals is pretty suitcase there. Let's switch topics for a second. One of the things that you also do, you wear a lot of hats in the planning department as a senior planner. And one of the things that we've talked about is there's a committee, and I'm not even terribly familiar with it, Development Review Committee.
Correct.
You want to talk about that? Help us know what that is?
Yeah, I think I'd love to. I think the Development Review Committee is an excellent resource for our community. This is something we often refer to as Friday Review, and that alludes to the day we host it, which is every Friday morning. We have the Public Works Department, the Utility Department, the Fire Department, the City Attorney's Office, the Planning Department, the Building Department, all comes together and provides comments to applicants. And these applicants can range from somebody wanting to start a new business in the city of St. Augustine, somebody relocating a business to or within the city. It can be in regards to a development for, say, multifamily or larger scale developments. And what that does is, for a small fee, the applicant can come in and provide a basic site plan and get a cursory review from the city. And what that does is it allows them to get an idea of what's involved in the city's development process, not just from planning, not just from building, but from all departments. So there's no surprises in that process.
So it would be safe to say if I had something I wanted to be building, developing like you're talking about, if I came to the Friday review, I could get all of my questions answered effectively, and then I'm not having to go to each.
Correct.
I don't have to make a stop here and then go over to this place and then go down the street and go to the fire department or.
Right. So it's one of those things that, everybody despises, and is the constant refrain of some local governments, is that you're always transferred. But this provides a consolidated option for folks who have got an idea formed up and have some basic plans and documentation of what they're trying to do, and then they can present it in a centralized place, and staff can provide them comments. And we actually meet in person. We're meeting in person.
Great.
Meeting physical distancing.
Sure.
But it gives us a chance to kind of have a dialogue about what they're trying to do, get a better idea, and better guide them through it so that they're not, like you said, having to go to multiple departments.
Or I'm not at home making phone calls, getting transferred and voicemails and whatnot.
Right.
Can I just come to those? Do I have to make an appointment to come, or can I just show up?
Yeah, so what you'd want to do is you'd want to email drc@citysaintaug.com. There's an application on the Planning and Buildings page on our city website, and there's a $20 fee for that. But anyone from the public can attend those meetings, and anybody can apply 1 week in advance and be able to come in and have those comments provided to them. So if you wanted to be heard next Friday, if you apply by this Friday, you'd be able to have that.
Okay, very good. Patrick, before we sign off today, I did want to circle back to short-term rentals. I know I thought we covered it all. I would like you to help our audience, because I know the zoning becomes an issue, and then it kind of occurred to me, when is all of this supposed to be in place?
Absolutely. So zoning has been a question that people have had. So our weekly requirements are for RS1 and RS2 zone parcels. These are parcels you find in neighborhoods like Lincolnville or Davis Shores. They have a weekly minimum, and what this means is that you're allowed to have one guest during that week period of time. They can stay for one night, they can stay for up to 4 nights, but as long as you have one guest during that week period of time, you're complying with the city's requirement for those zoning districts. Our HP1 district has monthly rentals. That's a very isolated area in the community, but for those who have units there, it's a monthly minimum. So we, as a city, have sent out notifications to all identified short-term rentals that we had mailing addresses for in our community. And that was about 595 letters that were sent out mid-October. So everybody should be getting those in the mail by now. And with that, what we've done is we outlined the basics we've discussed today, as well as the fact that we're trying to get everybody registered and inspected by January 4th of next year, 2021. And with that, once we get past that January 4th deadline, another letter is going to go out to anybody who hasn't registered or started the process to let them know that we will soon begin our code enforcement action if no registrations are taken.
Gotcha. Okay. So January 4th, get your registration in. Go online, citysaintaug.com, short-term rentals.
Correct.
It's all on the website, the phone number. Any quick hint about what do I do if I need to complain? If I don't have a short-term rental, but my neighbor does, and man, they're people there all night long. What do I do?
Yeah, so the city has established a 24/7 hotline and online submittal form. So if your neighbor is throwing a party, it's really loud, it's 1 a.m., you can contact that phone number on short-term rentals
on the
website, and you can let them know what's going on. You can provide them a time. You can even send them online. You can send them pictures. You can send them videos of what's going on. So there's a lot of options at all hours of the day and night to provide that.
Great. So citysaintaug.com/short-term rentals, one-stop shop. Patrick, great debut. Glad to have you.
Thank you so much,
Melissa. We'll have
Melissa.
you back. As we wrap up another edition of The Break Room, I hope we answered your questions about short-term rentals. If we didn't, take a minute. You can drop an email to info@citysaintaug.com, and I'll make sure that email gets to the short-term rental folks. Let me know what we missed, or if there's someone you would like to hear from. Remember that in order to stay connected, you need to be connected. Be sure to like us and follow us on any of our social media platforms. You'll find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram @CitySaintAug. Until next time.
You've been listening to The Break Room, a weekly program about projects and programs offered by the City of St. Augustine. We hope you'll join us each week as host Melissa Whistle and her guests have a conversation that helps you better understand how our city works to meet the needs of our community. See you next time on The Break Room.